Okay, sentence corrections. And again, rule number one with sentence corrections is identify what they're testing. Easiest way to do that, go straight to the underlined portion and see what they're testing. This question is testing subject-verb agreement, or could also be testing tense, verb tense correction, whether or not they're using the correct verb tense. So when we're talking about subject-verb agreement, a couple things to watch out. The GMAT likes to separate the subject and the verb and its verb with a bunch of fluff. So they might say something like, the teacher who blah, 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 did this and that and is jumping up and down on the roof are, right? And it just doesn't make sense when you say this, the teacher are. The teacher is. So be mindful of whether or not they're separating the subject and the verb agreement. The other thing to make sure is that when the subject and verb do agree with the tenses, it makes sense logically. Everything makes sense in terms of the sentence as a whole. So this question, because an oversupply of computer chips has sent prices plunging, the manufacturer has announced that it will cut production by closing its factories for 2 days a month. Okay, so because of this happened, right? So we want to make sure that that's balanced. So right now I see because an oversupply of computer chips. Now, what they want you to do, and you got to watch out for this, is that they want you to think that computer chips is the subject, but oversupply right now is the subject because it says because an oversupply of blah 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 blah. Right? That of means that it is an adjective phrase. It is not the subject. So because an oversupply, so we want to make sure that the verb is linked to oversupply. So oversupply has sent, yep, that makes sense. Because an oversupply has sent prices plunging, the manufacturer has announced that it will, yeah, so that makes sense. It makes sense in both ways. Verb tense agreement and the verbs used in the sentence are consistent throughout. So it's using has. B says because of plunging prices for computer chips, which is due to an oversupply. So now we change the subject to prices. So if because of plunging prices, which is due, prices is due, no, prices are due, right? So verb tense agreement right here doesn't make sense, so B is out. Because computer chip prices have been sent, so subject verb agreement makes sense, which resulted from an oversupply. Well, now this modifier doesn't make sense. Which resulted from an oversupply of what? Prices or computer chips? So C is out. D, due to plunging computer chip prices from an oversupply. Again, an oversupply of what? D is out. E says due to an oversupply with the result that computer chip prices have been sent plunging. Okay, so E is just really awkward. So A is definitely the answer here. So keep in mind, subject verb, they might separate the subject and the verb with a bunch of fluff. Make sure that they are clear and they match in terms of subject and verb tense agreement.